riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album, the show where we pick an album or song, listen to it for an entire week straight, and come back here and tell you whether or not we hate it and why. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me, as always, co-host extraordinaire, Boris Karloff, to my Bela Lugosi, Timothy Richardson. Tim, it's been an entire year. Can you believe it? How are you doing in this spooky of spooktacular holiday
Terrified,
months?
Garrett. Absolutely terrified.
Oh, what's got your goblin shaking?
Well, I mean, Garrett, this is the time of year where artists, normal artists, people that sing about normal things, just all of a sudden start singing about scary movie characters, and it unsettles me, Garrett. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Your love of the Halloween and scary themed month that is this show, the Spooktacular Spookstravaganza.
It's more of a season if you think about it. Third of a year, if you will.
Yeah, it does get longer every year. It's fascinating how much you love that, and yet how terrified you are by just the most mundane of scary things.
Absolutely. I mean, I like being scared.
Which is good, because you are.
But I don't like scary music.
No, you sure don't. And Tim, what song have we been listening to for an entire week straight to kick off our Spooktacular Spookstravaganza?
We have been listening to the Geto Boys, not a single, Chuckie, based on the movie Chuckie, which is somehow not copyright infringement, and released on an album We Can't Be Stopped in July 9th, 1991. And again, welcome to the Spooktacular, Spooktathlon, Spooktober, Celebra Spook. We here at the Why I Hate This Album podcast would like to wish everyone a happy, safe, sexy, and of course, spooky season.
All right, I co-signed that last statement. I think you might have lost the plot slightly in the middle, but that's okay. It's the Scaretacular. And Tim, after an entire week with these here Geto Boys and their definitely copyright infringing song Chuckie with an IE, not a Y, and their legally distinct question mark song Chuckie, I'm super curious. Do you hate this song, Tim?
Kinda. I'm on my way because we'll get to why.
Yeah.
We will get to why.
Fair enough.
What about you, friend? Do you hate this song?
I think I do.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, we'll get into why in just a few moments. But I very reluctantly and sadly state that I very much think I do already. We'll see. We'll see. Tim, I am curious before we talk about the song itself, prior to this week, do you got any personal history with these boys? And more importantly, have you ever heard this song before?
I don't think I've ever actually heard this song before. Of course, these boys are from Houston, so I knew them from about 99 to 2003. But I will also say I'm not sure, I can't say for sure that I've ever actually seen a Child's Play movie. I know the concept, but I may have never actually seen one. Like, I've seen parodies of them. I've seen, clips. If you asked me before this week, I would say I probably had, but now that I've been thinking about it all week, and frankly, I've been terrified all week, I don't really know what I'm that terrified of.
Small dolls.
I mean, sure, but I don't really know that I've seen the original work, which is probably okay, because it seems like whoever wrote this song didn't watch those movies either.
Yeah, you and Geto Boys have something in common then.
Yeah,
because I don't think they've seen it either. It is difficult to follow.
yeah, there is not. Well, we'll get into it, Garrett.
Yeah.
What about you? I assume you are very familiar with these Geto Boys and their Geto Chuckie.
Yeah, I know the Geto Boys. Not deeply. I don't have a deep-seated love for them, but I'm aware of them. I've heard some of their songs. I've heard this before, although I will say I don't think I've heard this song since 1991.
Well, I mean, that's the last time anyone should have heard this song.
Yeah, I was about to get into why I hate it. That's not not what we're doing yet. That's just my history. That is to say, almost no history other than a general awareness of them and this album and the one after it, but by no means would I call myself a fan. I like that your history with them is a good decade after the height of their fame. Fantastic.
Well, that's when I lived in Houston, Garrett.
No, I get it. It's just weird that they were still around. That's your history. That's my history. That is to say, bordering on no history. Oh, I guess I should mention, I've of course seen all of the Child's Play films. They are not good.
That sounds right.
They, as a child, the first one was effectively scary.
Sure.
Because, I had a My Buddy. That thing could come to life. You probably don't even know what that is. Do you know what that is, Tim?
Is it the Chuckie doll?
It's not the Chuckie doll, but it was a 3-foot tall friend.
Hold on. So a Bushwick Bill is what your parents got you.
Yeah, but they were very popular. Basically, it was like, how do we sell dolls to boys? And they came up with My Buddy. I still remember the theme song and everything. And then eventually they sold so well, they were like, all right, how do we sell the boy doll to girls? And they came up with something called Kid's Sister. Same jingle, too. Very lazy.
Yeah. And eventually they were like, how do we sell dolls to men? And they came up with an entirely different business model.
Funko Pops.
Sure.
Oh, you meant the ones that they fuck.
Yes.
Hey,
Sometimes
man, I'll
it's
take
just
somebody...
pieces of ladies.
I was going to... God damn it. We are on the same wavelength today. I was going to say, I'll take a man who owns a sex doll any day of the week over a disembodied torso. God. Why do they sell that? I don't care if someone will buy it.
Honestly, I
don't
think...
encourage it.
Here's the thing. I think there's a half a chance that they're doing a public service because there's a certain percentage of the population,
a non-zero percentage,
that if left to their own devices would a woman and so they're providing something, a stopgap, right? Here's the remains. Just have sex with this. Don't make your own lady remains.
Yeah. Do you fantasize about having sex with a completely isolated torso? No need to follow through on that. We've got one made of silicone and filled with sand. I assume.
It's very specific.
I just feel like you'd have to weigh those things down, right?
Yeah.
I've never had sex with an inanimate object, so I can't say for certain.
I mean, it'd be like an Indiana Jones thing, right? You would get a lady corpse, a lady torso, and get an exact measurement with sand so that you could know exactly how much.
Yeah, I just meant more like the weights that you use to anchor like a patio umbrella.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying too.
Well, I don't love what either of us are saying, so let's move on. Tim, that's your history. That's my history. Before we can talk about the song in any real meaningful detail, we must learn about these boys. So take us on a journey. Help me understand at least, maybe the listener, I guess. Who are these boys and how did this song come to be?
Well, Garrett, the Geto Boys were originally called the Geto Boys, and they had a bunch of early members, including Raheem Sir Rap-A-Lot, the Sire Jukebox, DJ Ready Red, and Prince Johnny C. But that early incarnation failed miserably, both critically and commercially. And those
I can tell you, gents, whose fault this isn't, Sir Rap-A-Lot. You are the worst, Jerry.
All those people, or at least as performers, were out of the band by the time that the album of the week came out, or the song of the week, I should say. Some of them stayed on in the production side, but by the time the song of the week was released, Willie D, Scarface, and Bushwick Bill were the guys in this band, so I'm going to focus on them. Willie D, aka William James Dennis, later aka BOP number 99063-179, was born in 1966 in Houston, Texas. He was initially interested in boxing. He won the Texas State Golden Gloves Championship in 1985, which is all the more impressive given that some of his training time in 1984 was taken up in a jail cell awaiting a trial for holding up a gas station, an aggravated robbery for which the Houston Chronicle reported he served 8 months in jail. He was also expelled from Forest Brook High School, go Wildcats, not for the presumably felonious behavior or jail time, but for getting in a fist fight. Now, reports don't say who won that fight. He did. He's very good at fighting, Garrett.
That's crazy.
He decided to be an MC in the rap game instead of a professional fighter, and after a bit of trying to be a solo artist, he was put in the Flailing Geto Boys by J. Prince of Rap-A-Lot Records. He joined Scarface, aka Brad Terrence Jordan, aka Mr. Scarface, aka Face, Face, aka DJ Action, pronounced Action, but definitely not spelled that way, aka Face Mob, aka Creepy, who was born in Houston in 1970. Now, Creepy dropped out of high school to sell drugs, then tried to kill himself, then got the old 5150 and was committed to a psych ward, then was a solo act around Houston prior to signing with Rap-A-Lot Records and being placed boy band style into the Geto Boys.
Weird. I would not have guessed that.
Yeah. The third part of the equation was, of course, Bushwick Bill, aka Richard William Stephen Shaw, aka Little Billy, aka Dr. Wolfgang von Bushwicken the Barbarian Motherfunky Stay High Dollar Billster, who was born in 1966 in Kingston, Jamaica, and would eventually grow to stand approximately Chuckie's height, 3 feet 8 inches tall. Now, to our non-American listener, that is 112 cms.
Good God only knows what that stands for.
Right. He was in the original incarnation of the Geto Boys, originally as a breakdancer and hype man named Little Billy. Anywho, again, this group was put together like a insane version of a boy band by Rap-A-Lot Records because, again, the first record that Geto Boys released, Making Trouble, did very poorly, and they basically broke up afterward. The new lineup, though, released Grip It on that other level in 1989, which did much better. It was received well critically, including a 4-mic rating from the Source magazine, although retrospectively they did change it to a perfect 5-mic rating. It also went gold, so it sold at least 500,000 copies in the US, so they're off and running. They're a real thing now. They signed to Def American Recordings, and in 1990, Rick Rubin oversaw a remix of their previous album. Well, it's sort of a compilation of their previous stuff, but they released it as The Geto Boys, now using the Geto spelling, which was a very controversial record, despite being mostly the same stuff as before, I guess because they're signed to a bigger label at this point. But both Geffen Records and Sony DADC, which is just the CD manufacturer, refused to be part in the release of this dangerous music by these dangerous boys, irrespective of race and the optics on that, of course. And so Def American Records switched distributors to Warner Brother Records, who also didn't want to release it because of these dangerous boys.
But
so
they signed them.
It was done under the Warner Brothers Records subsidiary Giant Records. Robert Christgau, for his part, gave it a B-, but in classic Bobby C fashion, he said, "I'm sort of touched when one of them thinks to thank the first girl to lick his asshole." Man of the goddamn people.
God, he always knows exactly what not to say. He and you.
No, do not compare
masters
me.
Masters of the spoken word.
Well, that
the
is
written
true.
word.
Yeah.
In the worst way possible. We use it as weapons of mass destruction.
In 1991, Bushwick Bill got into an argument with his girlfriend. Something happened, and he was shot in the face, Garrett destroying his right eye.
Yeah, he was.
Bushy said he was suicidal and was trying to force her into killing him, including threatening their kid. It could also have been the mixture of Everclear and phencyclidine.
Why are we dressing up PCP right now? When did we start doing that?
Garrett,
don't do PCP.
Check the sponsor list for this week.
That can't be. I'll be goddamn.
There it is.
Southeast Asian Pharmaceuticals.
Point is, Garrett, he got shot in the eye. But the Geto Boys could not be stopped by this or by anything, so they released We Can't Be Stopped a month after Bushy B got shot, featuring Bushwick Bill getting wheeled through the hospital by Willie D and Scarface. Eye wound agape. They took the bandage off. Get that photo.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Bill would later say, "It still hurts me to look at that cover because that was a personal thing I went through. I still feel the pain from the fact I've got a bullet in my brain. I think it was pretty wrong to do it, even though I went along with the program at first."
Yeah, that sounds right.
Now, Bushy B is now a full-fledged singer and rappist on this album. He, of course, sings the Song of the Week, which he did not write. And I honestly, if I were him, would think somebody wrote to make fun of me.
Yeah.
We Can't Be Stopped, though, did pretty well. It is certified platinum and hit number 24 on the US Billboard 200. In 1992, they released a compilation album that had some previously unreleased tracks tracks, including Office Space's Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangsta and the graphically anti-abortion song The Unseen.
What? I mean, don't give me any details, but I just didn't see that coming.
This world would be fucked if it was ran by you stupid bitches. At least give the kids a chance. And if you're going unprotected, keep your pussy in your panties. Cause you whores will get the guillotine if I was the judge for one of you bitches killing off The Unseen.
I specifically asked for no examples.
Take the rep for the murder you did, you son of a bitch. Cause killing babies ain't gank. Suppose your mama would have flushed your ass down her ass crack. The point is, it's a dynamite take.
It's a hot take. I'll give him that. Jesus Christ.
Yes. Willie D left the group, so they replaced him with Big Mike for 1993's Till Death Do Us Part. That was certified gold, but hit number 1 on the US hip-hop/R&B charts, number 11 on the US Billboard 200. And to answer your question, of course, yes, these sales of these albums are definitely driven by ICP members and Eminem.
Almost exclusively.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, they were quite popular until they weren't.
Sure. But I'm saying, like, this is a band that those two people were definitely listening to very closely and also stealing from. After that, Big Mike left the group, so they replaced him back with Willie D for 1996's The Resurrection, which was certified gold and hit number 6 on the US Billboard 200, which is the best they would ever do. Pretty good, though, especially in 1996. That's a lot of records. In 98, they released Da Good, Da Bad, and Da Ugly without Bushy B, and then The Foundation in 2005, and that's pretty much it for these guys' recording career. But not for them. Boy. In 2006, Garrett Bushwick Bill accepted the Lord Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior. Blessed be.
He's what? He'd be like 50, I guess?
I think 40. Not to be outdone, Garrett Scarface converted to Islam the same year. Inshallah.
Well, that's interesting.
Allahu Akbar. In 2009, Willie D, for his part, was arrested by the FBI on federal wire fraud charges for starting a company called Texas One Wireless that essentially lured people off of eBay onto their sites, said they were selling them iPhones, they collected the money, they never delivered, they never spoke to any of those people again, and he made a cool $194,087.17 for the scam, or at least that's how much he admitted to in court, and then he served a year in federal prison.
Not worth it. Let's think about this. A year in federal prison, no protective custody. How much money
He's the boxer, Garrett. He's having a great time.
How much? I doubt that. How much money would you need to go to federal prison for 1 year?
More than $200,000.
Sure. I think it's $1 million.
I'll make that happen.
I doubt it.
I don't think so. I think we could raise $1 million to send you to prison for a year. People will pay for that experiment. We will do GoFundMes, all sorts of stuff.
All right, let's do it. Going to prison.
Excellent. It's going to be just like that excellent film, We Went to Prison? Is that what it's called? Bob Odenkirk directed it.
Yeah. Let's go to prison.
Let's go to prison. There it is. Scarface Garrett was held without parole for a while for failure to pay child support for 4 children. They did some reunion shows. Bushy was then threatened with deportation to Jamaica John Lennon style in 2010 after being arrested for possession of marijuana and cocaine. And then Garrett, sadly, in May 2019, Bushwick was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and he was reported dead 1 month later. Now, I say reported because his son denied this report. He was dead, though. I don't know why he did that.
That's weird.
Yeah. In 2019, Scarface announced Scarface is dead as he ran for Houston City Council with the adorable slogan, putting the neighbor back in the hood, saying, I'm not going to be a 75-year-old rapper. I'm going to be finishing my last term in office as president when I'm 75. He was defeated by Carolyn Evans Shabazz for City Council later that year. Now, all told, these boys have released 7 studio albums, that Rick Rubin remix album, and 3 compilation albums. Bushy has released an additional 6 solo albums. Willie D has released an additional 6 solo albums.
Jesus.
Also, one of Bushy's albums called Phantom of the Rapper, and that's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Scarface has released 13 solo albums and some mixtapes. LaFace? Dental Plan.
And
Lisa needs braces. Buzzinga.
No, not that. We know what it isn't. Sandwich Wiki. Great history, Tim. That is to say it's over. Before we talk about the song itself, let's give everyone a taste. If you've never heard it, folks, here it is. The Geto Boys, one, the only Chuckie with an IE.
And that's really important, Garrett. Every time you hear us say Chuckie, remember, we're saying Chuckie with an IE. This is not copyright infringement. This is nice and legal.
Right.
That's why I murdered your nieces. Was my fault they find their head cut in 88 pieces.
Okay, opening thoughts. This is not a good song.
It is not. It's not really about Chuckie either.
It seems to lack most commonly agreed upon necessary foundational pieces of rap music, like rhythm.
Yes. Yeah, it has a very ICP feel, right? It's got like the background is like this weird, it's weird, like it's like a carnival noise that somebody's playing on a record player on the wrong speed or something.
Oh yeah, it's a spooky beat. We can definitely say that.
I don't even know if it's a beat though. It's a spooky like atmosphere.
Yeah, because they're sitting there with like God, I can't even imagine. Probably some sort of sampler. It was probably just a sampler, and they were messing with it and looping it.
But also like the vocals. It's a very like Eminem, early Eminem delivery. It's the I told you size wasn't shit. That's why I murdered your niece. It's like it's not.
It's not. There's no flow.
No, it's very strange. It's a very weird delivery. I guess it counts as horrorcore, right? The ICP Eshram thing.
Sure.
And of course,
go ahead. Keep going.
And of course, there's the gunshots, the screams, and crickets and stuff in the background.
A lot of sound effects. A lot of samples from the Child's Play film.
Yeah, which again, I feel like you'd want to like do something so in court it couldn't be tied back to you definitively. But I guess we're not.
It was the early 90s, Tim. Everything was a rumor. You couldn't look anything up. Hey, did the Geto Boys like steal a bunch of shit from our movie? There's no way to know. We'll never know. Do you know how to find them? They're not in the yellow pages. Everybody was just kind of bumbling around until the internet happened, and then the serious accountability happened.
But I feel like things still happened back then, right?
I don't know. Couldn't say. Nowhere to look it up. I tried to Google it. Didn't exist.
Fair enough. Now, Garrett, I don't mean to be insensitive. And you know me. I'm no medical expert. I'm no expert on human physiology or physiognomy. How is this Bushy's voice?
Oh, well, the two are achondroplasia and the depth of somebody's voice. The two are unrelated.
I feel like his voice should be more little.
No, I understand that. I understand that because of his stature.
Yes. I want him to sound more like Warwick Davis.
I see. Now that is pleasing. Right? But, it's unrealistic to expect all little people to have Munchkin-like voices.
True.
And again, I don't want to be
not
just unrealistic. It's unreasonable.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
listen,
it's offensive.
I don't expect that.
It sounds like you do.
I want it.
You want it. Okay, that's fair. I'm glad you're making the distinction. There is a difference.
Yeah.
You recognize that it's not going to happen. You'd like it to.
Yeah.
But it's not going to happen.
Also, I don't understand why it's not happening.
Interesting.
So I guess we're back on that first thing again.
Yeah.
Yes.
The mutation has nothing to do with how deep the voice is.
But if you're that small, I mean, I guess it's not proportional. There's the problem.
Yeah, there you go. It's not proportional. That's actually why it bothers your eyes so much.
Garrett, this song was written by Gangsta NIP, aka Rowdy Lowain Williams. The NIP stands for Nation of Islam is Powerful. It's a nested acronym, I guess. But his real first name is Rowdy. His mom.
That's the name for a dog.
Yeah. A bad dog. No, not you. You're a good boy.
No, he's a bad dog.
No, he's a good boy. Don't say that.
Except for when he's covered in poop.
Yeah. Getting angry again, Garrett. But this was written specifically for Bush after they watched Child's Play together. So imagine this situation. You're hanging out with your buddy Gangsta NIP. You're a little person. You are 3'8". Yes. He helps you onto the couch. You watch this movie together.
No, come on.
Have you been to Gangsta NIP's house, Garrett?
He has a
very tall couch. Right.
I apologize.
All right. It's not he might have to help me up on it.
No. Well, maybe. You are just legally barely a full-sized adult man.
That is not true.
Well,
I am 11 inches over a little person size.
Okay.
What do you mean? Okay? Anyway, the point is, picture this, Garrett.
Take your shoes off. We'll get the tape measure.
Picture this, Garrett. Bushy is there. He's sitting on Gangsta NIP's lap. They watch this movie together. They're both quite scared, I would imagine. And then the next day, Nip calls Bushy up and he's like, "Hey, I wrote you a song. I'd really like to hear you sing this." And he's very excited, Garrett. Yay!
Sure.
He gets there. He gets the song. He's like, "Oh, fuck you, buddy."
I get what you're doing here. I pictured it slightly different, but very close. Nip and Bill are sitting on the couch next to each other, not like a ventriloquist dummy, next to each other. And like they're watching the movie and like very slowly, Nip's head just like turns towards Bill. And then they kind of like back to the TV for a second, then back to Bill. And Bill's just like, "Motherfucker, if you say what I think you're about to say, we're going to have a problem."
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm just saying, Bill. I'm going to write a song. Okay, I'm just going to write it. You see what you think. And here's the thing. As a man who has seen all the Child's Plays, except for the TV show, I haven't seen the TV show.
Should we watch the TV show?
Mixed bag.
Well, it would be maybe my introduction to it, other than all the references and
it's
memes
honestly
and
probably
such.
the best thing they make. The first one's pretty good because it really is creepy, and then after that they become insane, like just completely ludicrous. He gets married and his wife gets turned into a doll. It's
a serial killer whose soul has been put into the body of a doll. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. Well, then I guess,
Yeah.
I mean, in that situation, like, I listen, it's not going to happen, so it doesn't really matter. But while we're on the subject, were I put in a doll, I would murder a lady I'm just saying, I would have like a lady doll right there. Her soul goes into that. Now I got a, lady to hang out with.
That's fair, but I guess...
Look, it's not fair, Garrett. Cosmically, I have been imprisoned in this doll.
Sure, but I guess is your concern that a flesh woman would not want anything to do with your doll body, and so
Yes.
you got to doll her up? I see. Yeah, that's fair. Okay,
and
let's
again, not
keep going.
me in this scenario. I'm a serial killer who has been magically bound to a doll's body.
That's good, because I thought you were you in this situation, and you were casually glossing over the murder.
I mean, honestly, you put me in that doll's body long enough, I'll do a passenger's.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm just happy that you didn't say if I was trapped inside of a doll's body, I would kill have torso.
No,
because I was pretty sure that's what you were going to say.
No, but you have said that, and I'm probably going to cut it and put it at the end of the song, the outro
Please
song, because I don't know if you're listening that far out.
Of course not. I am, of course not. Anyway, let's keep going, Tim. Let's begin with the song. We already played a clip. Song opens with a clip from the movie. You hear the classic, "Hi, I'm Chuckie. Wanna play?" And then the spooky beat and crickets begin. It's a very simple beat using very limited effects available at the time, probably on a sampler if I had to guess. And as Tim mentioned, Bushwick Bill sings this entire song by himself, and sings is wrong.
It's not rapped. It's
sort of growled.
Yeah, growl. I mean, again, if I may, I told you size wasn't shit. That's why I murdered your nieces. Wasn't my fault that they found their head and cut in 88 pieces. It's almost a rowdy Roddy Piper voice.
What about a Macho Man voice?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not going to do it.
You're going to do it. It is a Macho Man voice, Garrett. Almost.
I told you size wasn't shit. That's why I murdered your nieces.
Yeah, it's not that far off, honestly.
It really isn't. And the thing that blows my mind, though, is the complete lack of, like, rhythm and pace.
Yeah, it's not even to the rhythm, like, because the song has, the song is way too slow, but it does have a beat, and he ignores that beat. And
occasionally the two line up, but I expect, I consider it to be more coincidence than on purpose.
At some point you have to.
All right, let's get through these lyrics because, Tim, I gotta say, they're bad and confusing. And as you alluded to at the beginning of the episode, it's pretty obvious they've never seen this movie.
Well,
and you're saying that as a man who's never seen this movie.
I'm saying it as a guy who knows the story about that time they did see this movie.
Song begins with the line we've already read 80 times. I told you size wasn't shit. That's why I murdered your nieces. Wasn't my fault they found the head cut up in 88 pieces. Don't let 'em run. Hurry up and catch 'em. You grab an arm, I grab an arm. Let's pull till we stretch 'em. Now, right out the gate, Tim, I have a question that might be unanswerable. Am I hearing a song from the perspective of Bushwick Bill? Am I hearing a song from the perspective of Chuckie? Is Bushwick Bill being, what's the word I want here, possessed by Chuckie?
Chuckie-ized. Yes. Yes. I think what's happening here is that it's probably...
Or do we not know yet?
I think it's probably something like the story you were imagining earlier, where Nip is he's watching a movie about this doll and about this possessed doll. And then he's looking over at Bushwick Bill and saying, you're about that size. Maybe this is your story. And he's growing ever more suspicious of his friend. And so he's singing a song about that. Maybe his buddy is undergoing some sort of Chuckie scenario, and he wants him to know it's okay. I'm your friend. You can tell me. I won't judge you.
Right. Okay, let's keep going. Maybe it'll make more sense than what you just said. Play pussy, get fucked means you're better off dead. I wanted seafood, so I fished in a child's head. Motherfuckers beware, 'cause I'm sick. Dead heads and frog legs. Cake mix. It's rare that I don't write something down.
Yeah, I guess.
But,
I think the play pussy, get fucked thing, I believe, is a very common refrain for these gentlemen, if the internet is to be believed.
Okay. And then he eats like Shrek. Like fish heads and frog legs.
But also children. There's a little cannibalism going on in there.
And there's like somehow that's seafood.
Yes.
Well, you wouldn't know this, Tim, but there's obviously a part in Child's Play where Chuckie eats a child's brain and goes, that's good tuna.
Oh, well, there you go.
That doesn't happen, of course, because that would make no sense. This is so stupid. Let's keep moving. Friday the 13th, the night of the living dead. Vampire's arms walking round giving fellas head. Folks, you're going to hear me say the word fellas a lot here. That's because it's not my place to use the real words here. So he says, vampire arms walking round giving fellas head. If you don't die, I would say you got lucky. All bodies found dead. Fuck it. Blame it on Chuckie. But this is Child's Play, motherfucker.
So we're also doing Night of the Living Dead, Friday the 13th, and vampires in this song.
Like vampire prostitutes.
Oh, sure, of course.
Or they're just very promiscuous.
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
If I were a vampire and I was scared to do neck biting, I would just unsuspecting women and
probably gonna bleep most of that.
That's fair. I appreciate it. I hope you don't forget. That's one of those things I regretted as it came out.
Yes.
It's true, though. I mean, listen, if you're the Walking Dead, or the living undead, as it were, you're gonna do some stuff, Tim. Like, I'm not gonna apologize for how I'm gonna act when I'm a vampire.
Oh, sure. What was that movie? It had that boy that Robin Williams molested in that movie where he was the teacher,
God.
You know?
I don't.
The poets, and then the guy...
Dead Poet Society?
Yeah, and then the guy who's Ethan Hawke. He was there's like a vampire, like blood bank scenario where vampires took over the world, and it seemed like an interesting idea, and then it was terrible.
Is that 30 Days of Night?
Maybe.
Ethan Hawke.
We got
you sure
there.
It wasn't Josh Hartnett?
Could be. Was he in that movie with the... It doesn't matter, Garrett.
I should clarify that nobody gets molested in the movie with Robin Williams.
You don't know that.
I do know that.
You don't know that.
Dead Poet Society?
Yeah.
I've seen it. No one got molested.
You don't know that.
I don't understand what you're saying right now.
You've been to school. Somebody may have gotten molested there. You don't know. Just because you're not privy to it doesn't mean somebody's not doing it.
In the script or real life?
Not in the script necessarily, in the universe of the movie.
Wait a minute. Do you... Okay, this is fucking fascinating. Do you envision or believe that there are things that are occurring in film universes, or just films in general, that the audience isn't privy to, but informs the general tone of the film?
Yes. Are you unaware of the method?
Wow. The method? What method?
Method acting. This is the whole point.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, not molestation, but yeah.
One of us is at least a little wrong. I hope it's you. I mean, is this why you're always screaming during movies? It's about the scenes we didn't see?
No.
Oh, that's even more confusing. You know what? I give up. God damn it. All right, back to this terrible song.
I mean, both are correct.
Accurate, not our best. More samples from the movie before we get to verse number 2 of like 80. He says, "Aw fuck, Chuck's on a killing spree. Give me some barbed wire and I'll start by killing me." And I'm immediately thinking that he's been possessed by Chuckie and he's trying to take his own life.
I mean, maybe. If you are possessed, so let's say somebody, some deity, if you will, forces your soul into a doll, if that, or another person. If that person dies, are you then free?
No, you're trapped in that body alone.
Oh, well then you shouldn't.
Yeah, because I think what we're dealing with here is you got a Bushwick Bill and a Chuckie his consciousness has been wedged into Bill. And so Bill's fighting it off. It's sort of a Barry, other Barry situation.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I knew that would help. You're great. And so he's fighting off the Chuckie urges. And so the whole rest of this song is basically him bragging about his murderous spree and also how he's trying to stop it.
Fair enough.
Making for a truly terrible song.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. When I murder, I tried to slack off. Now 100 missiles blew a little girl's back off. My name is Chuckie. You some say I'm insane. You give me gin and I might eat a dog's brain. Now, Garrett, you've seen the Chuckie movies. Are these things from those movies, or is this a Bushy Bees oeuvre?
Yeah, this is a Nip original. The best I can figure here is Bill, possessed as Chuckie, joins the army and gets a drinking problem.
Okay, and then the dog brain.
You and I have known some people that get a little inebriated and do things completely out of character. What happens if a Chuckie gets hammered?
That's true. I do like that they've got some topical Iraq War references in this song, though.
That makes me laugh so goddamned hard. We're not quite there yet. We get much more direct here in a moment.
Absolutely.
He says, "Give me a motherfucking 15-pack, and I'll be damned if I don't bring 15 dead fellas back. A murder contest, you know I'll win it, because in every mailbox, there be a head with a knife in it."
I love the phrase "a murder contest." Because
I looked high and low. I could not find one in America.
I will tell you exactly what the problem is. Nip, Gangsta Nip, has some sort of frontotemporal dementia or primary progressive aphasia. He couldn't think of the word duel.
Oh, interesting. Or maybe he's just never heard of the concept of a duel.
I think he has. I think he's just like, what is that called?
I think it's more of a garage car hole situation.
Oh, that could be. Yeah.
What do you call it? A duel. Oh, a duel. How fucking fancy. What do you call it? Murder contest. Better than car hole.
It's not the last time I'm going to float the frontotemporal dementia theory in this song, though.
Hey, I would be disappointed if it were. I'm getting hungry. I need to be fed. I feel like eating a bag of barbecued broke legs.
What?
We're traveling so far outside the mythos of Chuckie. I don't know what's happening. Busting necks with a motherfucking brick. Half my body is Chuckie, the other half is Bushwick. And there you have it, Tim. The dichotomy of souls.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. I apologize for doubting you.
A short fella's always pumping some lead. I haven't figured out a way to get my fist out your forehead. What up? Get up, sit up. You got lit up. A knife in your neck made a polar bear spit up. A 9 Uzi is my only utensil. Inside his chest, they found 10,000 pencils. I will say, a 9 Uzi is my only utensil. Inside his chest, they found 10,000 pencils. Is my favorite line of the whole song.
Okay.
Only because in an entire song of befuddling imagery, that is the one line that in at least this young boy's imagination, I found myself deeply upset.
Oh, it's quite evocative, yes.
What was found in the chest cavity of the deceased? Several thousand number 2 pencils. Really? What do you think that means? Because I am out of ideas. City stricken by the substitute teacher. Roll call. Oh, Tim, I am writing a whole movie right now. Oh, but it's going to be like real dark, like Son of Sam.
Oh, sure.
Sure. That pencil thing is a good start.
But he's very animated, though, right?
Oh, yeah. Borderline comical.
Yeah. I'm imagining, you remember the Antichrist in American Dad?
I haven't thought of that in a really long time. That might be the funniest episode. It's a good rapture app.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, alrighty. Where are we at here? I don't know what that polar bear line was about, by the way.
Oh, I'm not going to help you. Are you waiting for me to help you?
I was hoping you might have something, but that's okay. Let's keep going. You have the nerve to go against Chuck with 50 guns aimed at you. How the fuck you gonna duck, yo? When I'm mad, I'm ready to slay. The graveyards are packed, but it ain't nothing but child's play. Leading an army of Chucky dolls filled with the souls of his murdered victims.
You would think that they would not join up.
You would think. But what else are you going to do if you're just crammed inside of a baby doll body?
Let me tell you something, Garrett. If you murdered me and put my soul in a doll, I would spend the rest of my doll life attempting revenge. I would not join your army of dolls. Also, who are all these other dolls?
Chuckies.
No, that's not what I'm asking, Garrett. I notice that you've already have a series of animated dolls. I'm asking more about the souls.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. They came like that.
Okay.
I ordered them online. Anyway, where was I? Oh, more movie clips, just chock full of clips from the movie, put together in the worst possible way to just make it almost indecipherable ear noise, even to those of us that know the movie well.
You better murder me, put me to rest, because if you don't, I'll come out shooting with my head in a bird's chest. Is that a movie reference?
No, of course not. What does that mean?
Pissed off the way I'm always sounding, killed a punk in 82. They just found him. Some say I'm crazy, some say I'm on crack. Before I die, cut off my leg and let me die in Iraq. I guess Iraq.
Huh? Yeah, but why? It did prompt me to go do a little bit of digging, Tim. Now, here's some fun stats for you. Bringing in the math, Gina. Of the 219 people that died in the invasion of Iraq, that's the OG one, 212 were men and 7 were women. It's kind of interesting. Here's where it gets fun. 154 of those 212 were killed in battle, and 65 of those people from non-battle causes. It was only like 2 weeks. How did 65 people die of non-battle causes?
Well, so are they counting like falling off trucks or
yes.
I didn't bring enough water to Iraq?
Yep, correct.
Well, there you go.
God damn it.
It's quite warm.
And then the most tragic of all statistics, of the 154 that were killed in battle, 35 of them were the result of friendly fire.
Yeah. How many Iraqis were killed? Do you have those numbers?
I do not.
Oh. Orders of magnitude.
Yeah. Shock and awe, Tim. Shock and awe. This was, of course, God, what was it called?
Operation Desert Storm and then Desert Shield.
Desert Storm and Desert Shield. Way better than Iraqi Freedom.
Yeah, well, especially because we did storm and shield. Those were accurate.
That's true. We stormed and then we shielded. Shelled.
We shelled.
Also accurate. Also accurate. Tragic. Okay, let's get through the rest of this horse shit. A born loser. Some say I'm mindless. If I get pissed off, you leave naked and spineless. I gotta stop. If he gets angry, you're gonna leave nude and scared.
Maybe literally spineless.
You're not leaving then.
Well, you'd be slumped over while your legs are moving, you know.
You will not. You'll be at best in a trash can, folded up like a fillet of fish.
That's fair.
You'd be like a scrod.
Now, who's throwing their fillet of fish away, though?
Everyone should.
That's not true. Everyone should, but not everyone does, Garrett, because if you're the sort of person that's going to order a fillet of fish, you're going to eat that fillet of fish, yeah.
Ugh, God, if you want to... I'm getting mouth sweats thinking about McDonald's tartar sauce. What could that possibly be?
Well, you gotta... It doesn't. I'm not going to get into it, Garrett.
Nope.
Worse than Charles Manson never having an equal. Went sleepwalking last night and killed 300 people. When I woke up, they had me chained to the floor. When they told me what I did, I killed 300 more. Yo.
It's a real bags of sand situation.
What?
Oh, don't you just love the way breasts feel when they're all like firm?
Oh, no, I know
like
what that
bags
means.
Of sand?
I'm confused by how it applies
to
this.
300 people in an evening?
Well, maybe he's like a werewolf kind of person.
A were-Chuckie.
Yes.
That explains everything.
So it's basically like a cat, but much more violent.
No.
Like a small dog, like a
No. On a full moon, Bushwick Bill, his facial features, his whole body grows, like the suspenders and the shirt and the red hair starts pouring out of the top of his head.
Ooh.
He turns into a weird Chuckie.
Well, I like that quite a bit.
Yeah, and that's when the rampage happens, and he's, I don't know, got a turbo button or some shit, and that's how he kills 300 people. But the weird Chuckie is where it's at. I wish we'd come up with this at the start of the episode. It might have been at least 10 times better.
Let's go back. Gino,
Oh, God.
rewind the
I don't
tape.
even want to go forward. You want to rumble? Then go get your war hat.
Let me stop you right there. More FTLD, Garrett. This man has frontotemporal dementia. He can't think of the word helmet.
Yeah, he cannot think of the word helmet.
Helmet
You
in
mean
duel.
Grab your... Okay, everybody grab your war hats. Here's your war hats. You mean helmet? Oh, a helmet. How lovely. Did you learn that in French class, my dear? Get your war hat.
There's a fun Paul F. Tompkins bit where he works at a hat store and people keep coming in and asking for the king hat. It's like, the crown?
Can I get a king hat?
I went to jail for assault with a carjack. I might be small, but my nuts are big. Worst thing you can do is let me keep your fucking kids, because I'm gonna teach them how to act, and if they don't act right, they dying tonight. So, ain't no use in you trying to spot them. I send you a motherfucking note that says Chuckie's got them. Nobody
Don't threaten to steal people's kids.
But also, like, it's not just stealing. Like, he's apparently got an active babysitting service. Is that what's happening?
Well, if he sees your kids not acting right, well, okay, first he's going to abduct them. That's what he's into. He wants to take your children.
But no,
then he's going to
it's not
subject...
the worst thing you could do is fail to protect. The worst thing you could do is let me keep your fucking kids. As if somebody's like, hey man, having a bit of an emergency. You're my neighbor. You don't look too threatening. Will you watch my kids for a couple of hours? I got to do a quick thing. And he's just like, I just smoked a whole bunch of PCP. I'm chugging out right now. The full moon's out. I guess maybe it'll turn out okay.
Yeah, as long as they're acting well. Otherwise, I'm going to subject them to aggressive etiquette courses. Let's see here. Let's wrap up this pile of garbage. We hear the Chuckie is here. He is going to kill me. Hi, I'm Chuckie. I'm your friend till the end. These are all, of course, more samples from the movie. I believe you actually hear Chuckie screaming and dying from the end of that movie. It's pretty terrifying, but it doesn't translate well to a hip-hop song. And that brings us to the music video, which luckily there isn't one.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed.
Yeah, otherwise that's where we would have spent most of our time. I did watch several that aren't real ones. They're mostly just intercut scenes of the Geto Boys performing and the movie Child's Play.
Yeah, as one would expect.
I mean, more or less. That's basically what the Spawn soundtrack did. Anyway, Tim, how did this do?
No idea.
Fantastic. What did people think of it?
Well, Robert Christgau did not review this song specifically, and he didn't really review the album, but he did listen to it. The one song he liked, Mind Playing Tricks on Me, that's his Scissors, his choice cut or whatever.
What a psycho. Great. That is, I believe, the consensus for the best song on that album by everyone.
Yeah. Garrett, there are 8 total ratings on Amazon, 4.4 out of 5 stars on average, 76% 5 stars, 0% 1 star. The Sheerantz brothers in 2013 titled their review, Bushwick's Crazy. Bushwick turns homicidal maniac and just a creepy song. Actually, Bushwick remind me of the Black Devil doll from Hell. 4 out of 5 stars.
What?
I don't know.
That is not a thing we all know. That's a racist doll you had in your family.
That's true. YouTube comments, Garrett, at Keef78 11 years ago. Fuck. We used to piss ourselves laughing at the lyrics in this. 100 missile blow a little girl's back off. LOL. Gold.
Huh? That's the one they would laugh at? That was the one that was the least, didn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Also, it makes it sound like you could hit a little girl with 100 missiles in the back.
Yeah, it's a certain point. That back's going to be nothing. Nothing's going to be left of that.
After one.
Garrett, that boy spank from 11 years ago probably needs a new nickname there.
Yeah.
Man, I was terrified of this song when I was a little kid.
Wait, what?
Not the movie, Garrett. The song. There were so many of these that where people are scared of this song.
That didn't even dawn on that never even dawned on me that might be a thing.
Devin Duke, 65 years ago. I remember when my mama would leave and my older sister would have to watch over me and my twin brother while she was gone. Well, as soon as she left, me and my bro would start being badass hell. And my sister really couldn't do shit with us. So she would put this song on and we'd be crying like a motherfucker. We was scared to death of this song, crying, laughing emoji man. She would say, if y'all don't sit y'all badass down somewhere, I'm gonna play it again. And that was her way of keeping us in line. LOL. Hashtag RIP Bushwick Bill prayer sign.
That's so weird. It was used as a disciplinary song.
Yeah. Xavier Martinez, 4661, 1 year ago. Would have been cool if the actual Child's Play story was about a possessed doll on a killing spree with kids, because not a lot of horror movies show kids getting killed. Would have been crazy shit if that was what Chuckie was about.
Jesus Christ. Somebody check on that guy. Guys, I'm just going to say it. Maybe it's a hot take. Not enough murdered children in movies, right? What? You know, like they die and stuff, but you don't really get to see it. Like, what? Although, you know where you do see a child murdered in a movie and it really was upsetting is that Dr. Sleep.
Oh, yeah. That's it.
That
Whoever
scene.
that is, give that kid more work. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he's really good. I thought he was being killed.
Yes. He wasn't, though.
No, he's fine. No one sucked his steam out.
Well, we don't know about that.
God damn it. Back to that again. Anyway, great reviews, Tim. That is to say, we're done with them. That brings us to who's this for? Tim, who's this for?
Garrett, I honestly don't know. I mean, I guess it's for people who have children.
Misbehaving children.
Exactly, yeah. Keep those little bitches in line, Garrett.
So strange. All right, that brings us to final thoughts. Any revelations after we've been all the way through it?
No, you know, I was thinking about this. You remember when we listened to that Willard Smith song about Fredens Krueger or whatever?
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
You know, I hated that song. At the time, I said that was not enough fun. And I would like to apologize to Willard Smith because that song, God, I miss that song. I would like to do that song.
That song's 100 times better than this one.
Yeah, this thing really sucks.
It's just weird that multiple hip-hop artists were like, hey, let's do rap songs, unlicensed rap songs about horror films.
Well, it was the time, Garrett.
I hate when you tell me that. God damn it. All right. I think that's going to do it. Tim, you hate this?
Yeah, I got there, Garrett. This is not a good song. It should not be listened to. I kind of hate it. What about you? Did you stay there? Did I maintain your position?
Ugh. Did you keep me there?
Yeah, okay. I don't want to be gross about it.
You said maintain my position.
Yep.
We need to review what is and isn't gross later. Tim, I hate this. It's bad.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to listener mail. You want to go first or you want me to?
I should probably go first, I think.
If you're looking for confirmation, you are not going to get it from me.
Yes. This is by Seb Stanley. I'll run it through the voice modulator later. As a longtime Why I Hate This Album listener and someone who watched all of Rescue Me, I can attest that Come On has deserved the Why I Hate This Album treatment since, at least, the first time Dennis Leary heard the song. By the way, if you boys aren't quite sick of Dennis Leary in the Bon Vondi's Prepisode, you may want to look into the thankfully short-lived 2015 FX series Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll. Leary played the aging lead singer of an insufferable rock band, a premise that is somehow even cringier than casting him as a New York City firefighter. Plus, of course, the series had its own terrible soundtrack album, Garrett's. We should watch at least one episode of that.
Ooh, just a one-off?
We'll do a prepisode on the pilot. As far as the most egregious thing to happen on Rescue Me, I would respectfully like to nominate The Gang Tries to Substitute a Box of Cake Mix for the cremated remains of their fallen FDNY brother. Yikes. Anyway.
It's still when he contemplated murdering his own baby.
By throwing her in the East River. Anyway, thanks for putting on such a great show, and of course, keep bustin'. Smiley face.
It's great. It's a great way to sign off.
The smiley face. Always sign off with an emoji so that people know, because sometimes I can't get from the context clues of the email. Was he angry this whole time?
Yeah. Were you screaming at me?
Yeah, but the smiley face. Now I am comforted. Great email, Seb. It's probably Sebastian Sebaria.
Good stuff.
What about you, Garrett? Do you have an email as well?
I do. I have two, but I'm only going to read one.
Well, read both. Come on.
My email's from Morgan entitled Bobby Z. Morgan writes, Boys, Garrett just casually hangs out This was just a fun fact for you. I am from Bob's hometown, so we get to know a lot of people that know him pretty well. But since it is a small town, under 16,000 people, don't go around telling people the things I know. That's okay.
Probably shouldn't be reading this then.
Yeah.
Okay, so we probably bleeped this whole email because he specifically said don't read this email.
I mean, at the end, though.
I'm going to go ahead and bleep the email just to be safe.
All right, well, I have a second email. The previous email was redacted due to the fact that the very last paragraph requested that I not read any of it.
Delightful.
My other email is from BG, and the title is Spooktober Suggestions.
Now, before you read this email, can you do a quick scan of the last paragraph of this email?
See if they sign off by saying, for the love of God, don't read this on the podcast.
Yeah.
God damn them. All right. No, it looks like that this was meant to be read. BG writes, hello. I've been a listener to your podcast for at least a couple of years now, and it is hilarious. Well, thank you, BG. Keep up the great work. We'll try. I loved the Soulja Boy episode, as well as the Counting Crows episode, even though I'm a big fan of the latter band. I wanted to throw out a few suggestions for the Spooktober Spooktacular. There was a listener email you read on an episode suggesting Echo and the Bunnymen, The Cure's Pornography, and Depeche Mode's Black Celebration. However, it was 6 months ago, and it was way too early. I wanted to second these suggestions as I think they would be great Spooktober episodes. For Echo and the Bunnymen, instead of just the song The Killing Moon, I would like to nominate the entire Ocean Rain album, as it has many other delightfully creepy tracks like Nocturnal Me and The Yo-Yo Man. And I'd love to hear your interpretations of them. Thanks for your time, BG. I gotta say, Tim, this Ocean Rain sounds pretty weird. And I don't know how much Echo and the Bunnymen you've listened to. We do own an album by them, some vinyl there over on the shelf. It's fucking weird.
Yeah. I don't think they're in the ball hopper, though, for this time. So, what The Killing Moon? Is that the song?
Yeah, Killing Moon's the song.
I'll throw that in the Prepisode one, because as you know, the ball hopper is sealed for the day.
Sure, we can't get Ocean Rain in there today. I mean, we have completely ignored the hopper on many an occasion, or just broken the seal and put the ball in, but I love to randomly adhere to rules with feverish strictness for no apparent reason. So we're going to do that this week. But we will put Ocean Rain into the hopper for later in the month.
All right.
Because I think we still have one album slot open for the month.
Probably.
I like your confidence.
Well, we also have Spookvember, Spooksember, Janu Spook, and Febu Spook. So
honestly, of all the Spooktober albums, I actually think Echo and the Bunnymen do translate better outside of the month of October than many of the other ones you force upon me. Anyway, Tim, do you have an email that you should read?
I already read my email.
Did you?
Yes, I did. Garrett has dementia.
Maybe. That brings us to music news. The Weird Tim, do you want to go first, or would you like me to?
Well, since you completely forgot that I even did an email, I should probably read the news.
I don't see how the two could possibly have anything to do with one another, but please go right ahead.
Music news of the weird.
In John Bon Jovi, aka Bon John Joji, is a fucking hero news. On September 10th, 2024, the Boge was filming a music video on the John Siegenthaler pedestrian bridge in Nashville, Tennessee, which is news in and of itself. This man is filming music videos for what? For whomst? Where are you going to put that? Who wants a Bon Jovi music video?
My mom?
Nope, she doesn't either. Anyway, whilst filming said music video, Bon John noticed a lady standing on the wrong side of the safety railing of the bridge looking upset. So he went over and said, and I quote, "Take my hand and we'll make it, I swear." And once she did take his hand, because who the fuck wouldn't, he grabbed on real tight. Garrett, he did not let her go. He reminded her that life is worth living, and he helped her back over the railing, officially becoming a hero, like that time T.I. rescued Scott Stapp from a suicide attempt, or when Werner Herzog saved Joaquin Phoenix after he got in a car wreck and just wanted to smoke a goddamn cigarette around that gasoline, or the time Old Dirty Bastard rescued a kid who was trapped under a car in Brooklyn. Heroes, each and every one of them.
God, all those are like super true and accurate.
Yep.
Good job.
Yep. Really makes you think, Garrett.
No, I just normally at least half your facts are made up or just wrong.
There's really so many musicians and actors and directors are just heroes.
It is weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
How many lives have you saved?
7.
Oh. How many have you taken?
Almost got me, friend. friend. Not gonna fall for that. Garrett, do you have any heroic news?
I have the opposite.
All right. Getting right into P. Diddy, huh? The Diddy
Correct.
Daddy.
Diddy news coming down the pipe. Okay, of course, folks, we're a few weeks behind, but this is going to be an ongoing story, so it's really important we're all on the same page. And that page I have taken from the Department of Justice's website, because quite frankly, I've read dozens of articles, but the actual, I don't know what you'd call it, press release? Indictment? I guess I was reading the indictment on the Department of Justice. This is on DOJ.com. Reads so, it's salacious and insulting and weird,
And there are
also
numbers that are confusing.
Okay, so I didn't copy the whole thing down, but I got a lot, and I just have to remind everybody. Now, I know a lot of this is old news at this point, folks, but for those of you who haven't kept up with the details, this is from the U.S. government. This is what they wrote. Sean Combs, a.k.a. Puff Daddy, a.k.a. P. Diddy, a.k.a. PD,
Okay,
a.k.a.
this is the point I have to admit that I do in fact work for the U.S. government.
This is classic Tim. Okay, as I was. AKA P. Diddy, AKA PD, AKA Love, was arrested I'm not joking. Was arrested last night and charged in a 3-count indictment with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. The indictment unsealed today alleges that between 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, coerced women and others, and led a racketeering conspiracy that engaged in sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice, among other crimes. Let's just take a brief pause and point out that arson was in that list.
Yes.
Interesting. Among other things, Combs' sexual abuse of women included causing them to engage in frequent days-long sexual activity with male commercial sex workers, some of whom were transported over state lines. These events, which Combs referred to as freak-offs, were elaborate.
Okay, you know what? All is forgiven.
Were elaborate sex performances that Combs arranged, directed, and often electronically recorded. To ensure participation in freak-offs, Combs used violence and intimidation and leveraged his power over victims. Power he obtained through obtaining and distributing narcotics to them, exploiting his financial support to them, and threatening to cut off the same and controlling their careers. Combs also threatened his victims, including by threatening to expose the embarrassing and very sensitive recordings he made of freak-offs if the women did not comply with his demands.
Did he learn from that Tickle Man? You remember the Tickle Man?
God. Dude, that documentary I think just hit Netflix or is soon. If you haven't seen Tickled, it's one of the most fascinating and upsetting documentaries out there.
You can watch the entire. I don't have any idea what happened. It's horrifying though.
Yeah, it gets so much worse than anything you conjure up from the premise. Anyway, so this indictment, it just goes on like that for pages. But this is the writings of the U.S. government.
He had over 1,000 bottles of lube.
That's too many.
They recovered like upwards of 7,000 dildos from his house. Garrett, have you ever needed more than 17 dildos?
I don't know. I don't think so. I can say confidently, Tim, I have not.
Diddy dildos, that's too many.
That doesn't work. Okay, Tim, what news do you have?
784 dildos.
What?
1,000 bottles of baby oil.
Well, listen, not that it makes it okay, but how big were those bottles?
Big, industrial-sized, Garrett.
Oh, no.
Just get 50-gallon drums at that point.
I don't think they make them.
That's not true. If you're Diddy, they'll make them for you, especially if you explain what you need them for.
Yikes. What news do you have?
In Mozart news, Garrett, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart died in 1791 at the age of 35, having produced more than 800 compositions. That's not news. That's not news at all, Garrett. What is news is that this week the world will hear an unreleased Mozart track for the first time. The new single is 260 years old and was performed in public for the first time last week in Salzburg. The 12-minute Ganz kleine Nachtmusik, aka Very Little Night Music, appears to be some sort of sequel to Eine kleine Nachtmusik, week. There are so far no grainy cell phone recordings of the performance online, but we wait with bated breath for your analysis, Mr. Christgau.
When's that hot new Mozart track gonna drop?
I mean, you kind of
do we have any idea like where it came from? Why is it the first time anyone's hearing it?
So he had a bunch of hundreds of recordings, or not of recordings. He had many more compositions than he actually published during his lifetime. And so there have been a bunch that essentially have been biographers and whatever have been unearthing for a long time. And I feel like this is just the last one.
He had a vault like Prince.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just fucking weird.
Yeah. Garrett, do you have any old news for us?
Here's news about old people.
Done.
As of the recording of this episode, just a couple of weeks ago, there was a bit of a dust-up during a recent Jane's Addiction concert. Tim, did you ever see the video of what transpired during that show?
No, you specifically told me not to.
Fair enough. Well, let me describe it. Well, for those of you who haven't seen it, basically you see Perry Farrell there. He's singing, and he's having a good time, and being all terrifying looking because he's Perry Farrell. And there's Dave Navarro, a.k.a. Jafar, playing his guitar just off to the left there, and he's jamming out. And, you know, we make fun of Mr. Navarro for looking like the villain from Aladdin, but he's a guitar player. He's doing his thing. And then you see Perry Farrell there getting real pissed off. And Tim, I've never thought I would say this. I must come to the defense of Dave Navarro. You see literally on his face like, huh? What's up? And then he punches him in the face. Perry Farrell punches Dave Navarro in the face. It's, not that hard because he's Perry Farrell. But all of that is very old news. Here's the slightly newer news. Perry Farrell's wife, or partner, whatever, his wife, Eddie Lou Lau Farrell, recently wrote on Instagram, quote, the following. Goddamn. We are taking a bit of time to ourselves to reflect and to heal. Perry already has appointments with an an ear, nose, and throat specialist, and a neurologist. If you know and love Perry well, you know there's no need for me to address the other false narratives our souls know. End quote. I have no idea what that has to do with anything. He punched that man in the face for no reason. Now, couple things that this podcaster has observed since this all went down. One, I have found video footage of 20 minutes earlier in the concert where you see Perry Farrell seemingly how can I put this? Seemingly having a difficult time performing up to the level that I would certainly appreciate if I had paid for those tickets. And you see Dave Navarro noticing the same thing. He basically walks over to Perry Farrell and he's like, hey man, why don't I do a solo for a minute while you figure it out? And that is the moment at which Perry Farrell gets very angry. And 20 minutes later, he would punch him in the face. But I'm reasonably certain now, having watched far more of Jane's Addiction than I'd ever wish to, Perry Farrell's in the wrong here and just punched Jafar in the face for no apparent reason.
Yeah. Sometimes Jafar is right, Garrett.
Who knew? Just ask Iago. Hashtag ask Iago. That was the parrot.
I know.
Gilbert Godfrey. Tim, any other news for the good listeners?
Sure, Garrett. And who asked for this news? Tracy Lauren Marrow. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Iced T is his other name, has made an updated version of Comfortably Numb, kind of with the involvement of David Gilmour. It's more of a body count song, Garrett. He wrote entirely new lyrics. It appears to be written entirely by Ice-T, except for maybe the chorus, but that's still just Ice-T talking random bullshit over a guitar solo. But strangely, okaying this was the first time David Gilmour and Roger Waters have agreed on anything in the past couple of decades, which I take as a terrible sign, but Ice-T took as a good sign. He says, when we originally contacted the publisher, they said no. It was not a diss, but kind of like Pink Floyd doesn't do samples, they don't do ads either. We were fucked. I wasn't going to take the lyrics and put it on another track. We were just going to burn it. Once we got to David, he was like, fuck yeah, I love this song, I approve it. And then Roger listened to it, and his only comment was, who's singing? When he heard it was Ice-T, he approved it. So to have two people who sit on opposite sides of the fence agree on a song, that means it must be good. Now, Garrett, I have listened to this 3 times. It is not good. It is bad.
It's gotta be terrible.
It's so bad. It's a guitar solo, the whole song, as Ice-T mutters about nothing. It doesn't relate at all. And then I believe he speaks the lyrics to part of the Pink Floyd chorus as the it's terrible. It is a terrible song. Shame on you, Ice-T. Shame.
And I tend to stick up for Ice-T. I really
used
like
to.
Ice-T. I don't love a lot of his, what is this band of his called?
Body Count. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how we haven't done that yet.
I didn't know it was a thing.
Fair enough. Alrighty, I'm out of news. You got anything else worth talking about?
Yes, I've got a concert we'll be going to in March. Garrett, in REM news, have you ever wanted to see the music of REM performed live?
Yes.
Have you ever wanted to see it performed live by Michael Shannon while Michael Shannon is wearing a scarf for no reason and also presumably holding a child's skull?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I'm only pausing at the child skull part, but yeah, still yes.
I thought so, Garrett, and now you can. Apparently, this year, General Zod and Jason Narducci were performing REM's Murmur in full a few times. It's unclear why, but they really enjoyed it, so now they will be touring Fables of the Reconstruction, followed by some deep REM back catalog suggestions in 2025, and luckily, Garrett, we'll get to see him in Brooklyn in March, and then he's invited us to follow him to New Jersey, where we get to witness him drown a federal agent in front of a Baptist congregation. It should be a weird time.
Is he all stiped up?
I don't think so. I think he's Zodded up. Or just Michael Shannoned up.
Yeah, it's probably Shannon. I mean, if he's in the Zod costume.
Michael Shannon. I don't know if you're a listener. I assume so, because why wouldn't you? Wear the goddamn Zod costume.
God bless it. That would be amazing. Listen, man, you cashed in on that stupid Flash movie. Do this for us.
Yeah.
Just
I gave you money for the Flash movie.
Yeah, I saw it at a press screening, but still, that's not good. God, I'm trying to see what is funnier, Michael Shannon. I mean, Michael Shannon as Zod is definitely the funniest because it's just why. That's me in the corner, Kal-El. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion. He's like an angrier Willem Dafoe.
Less sexual Willem Dafoe. No, you know what?
It's really picking up that mantle. Anyway, we can't sit here all day musing about the sexuality of Michael Shannon v. Willem Dafoe. That's really splitting hairs. Let's get to the part where we announce the album we're going to be talking about the next time we get together, which your shit ain't going to be next week.
No.
Or is it? No, it's not.
No.
That's right, folks. We're taking a week off, gang, so nobody freak out. We're both traveling, so fuck off.
I'll be here.
We should talk. Because you won't be. Anyway, that's a surprise for Tim. Tim, what album are we going to be listening to for an entire 2 weeks straight?
Well, Garrett, according to this ping pong ball, we're going to be listening to Rocky Erickson's The Evil One. Sounds very spooky, Garrett.
I don't know. I don't know.
It does. It sounds spooky. You know who The Evil One is, don't you?
No, Satan.
Yeah,
of course I do. God damn you. At some point, Tim, maybe when the Spooktacular ends, we've got to start doing songs and albums from like 2020 and beyond. We've gotten more than a couple emails recently of people saying, what is this?
I was going to suggest Sinatra's I Did It My Way.
Going the wrong way with it. Anyway, Tim and I are going to be off for a week, folks. Don't worry, we will return with more Spooktacular adventures to come. But until then, please rate, review, subscribe, follow, and all that stuff that lets the various services know that you like this show. If you can reach out to us and we want to hear from you. That's hatepodmail@gmail.com, or you can go to hatepod.com and click on contact us in the upper left-hand corner. You can find us on Instagram. That's hatepod. Twitter's album hatepod. I'm G Harvey tweets on Twitter, and we're also on Threads. That's hatepod as well. We got Discord servers. We got subreddits. God damn it, we're everywhere. We're everywhere you want to be. So get out there, reach out, start talking about us, to us, about us, around us, near us, behind us even. Spread the word. But for this week, that's going to
surprise us by spreading the word directly behind us.
Oh, sure. Let us know you're there. Anyway, for this week, that's going to do it for me. I've been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I have been the other, Timothy B. Richardson. And just to be clear, I'm sorry you think you deserve an apology does not count as an apology. Garrett B. Harvey, you fuck.
It feels equitable. I'm acknowledging your feelings, but also staying firm on my opinion.
I hate you so much.
That is also fair.
There's cowboys running through my dreams. Nothing's quite the way it seems. I joined the Navy, got kicked out in a My facial features aren't distinct. Try to find some meaning in these songs. The genius is a genius, got it wrong. No, it's a lobster murder sex thing. It's the bleaching of the rear. A full assault on both your ears. The riffs are too repetitive. The lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides. The cover art's a mess. Listen to it for a week. Now that week has passed. It's the Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Gary.